Chairman Castro, members of our Hispanic Caucus, we together reflect the American story, and that's the story of immigrants past and immigrants present. All of us have that heartfelt view from the corazon of what has made America great. We're here today to talk about the impacts of what I believe is the most anti-immigrant administration in modern history of America. And let's be clear, as my colleagues have stated already, this has a lot more to do with the politics of this president getting reelected than solving the problems at our border, the humanitarian crisis that they have largely created. But we've been through this before. Last year, the administration ordered ICE to deliver over 5,000 I-9 audit notices to businesses across the country to match the W-2 forms. Now, audit is just a nice word for a term raid. It's what it is. It's a raid. And we've seen this throughout our country. It's ironic that this Sunday, a day normally held for religious services, that we will have federal agents in major American cities creating more fear instead of solving problems. But their goal is the same, and that's to perpetrate this anti-immigrant policy, to play on the politics of fear, and to stoke fear in our immigrant communities. Let me give you a local flavor, because we all represent different constituencies. I represent the wonderful people of Fresno, Madera, and Merced counties, a very rural part of California. A lot of the breadbasket of our country, a lot of agricultural production. And so where this impacts is our campesinos, these men and women who work hard every day to put food on America's dinner table. And the fear that is expressed, I can say it best, in a town hall that we had last week in Los Baños with Secretary Perdue, the Secretary of Agriculture. And a farmer friend, Joe Basic, asked the question of the Secretary of Agriculture. Joe Basic's parents were farm workers. He lived the American dream, was able to go to college, and now is a farmer. He says, Mr. Secretary, do you realize the anti-immigration policies that your administration is pursuing is creating fear in our rural communities like we've never seen before? In my district, because of these raids, we have so many other impacts to these hardworking families. And many of the families have members that are documented and those that are undocumented. Last year, we had a meeting of Packers processors, and one of the business persons said, see this picture, Jim? This is Maria. Maria has worked in our operations for 12 years. She came to me last week and she says, Mr. I am not going to be able to come to work because we understand your facility is going to be audited or a raid will take place. I have a home in Parlier, California that I am so proud of that we bought. And some of my family members are here illegally and some are not. And I cannot risk the chance that I could be deported. That's the story. Let's be clear. This is what's happening. These raids do nothing to help resolve the crisis at our border or provide any solutions to our broken immigration system. Instead of spending resources to round up people peacefully living in our communities, the overwhelming majority that are hardworking folks that are wanting to live the American dream, the dream of immigrants past and immigrants present. We should not be using them to attack a problem that is really not of their making. The issue of the refugee crisis, we know is in the Central American countries, and we ought to be working with our neighbor, Mexico, and to solve the problems there of the humanitarian crisis. So while we provide assistance to other countries, we are not providing assistance to deal with the humanitarian crisis here at home. What this administration fails to recognize and appreciate is that we are a nation of immigrants, past and present. So what we should be doing, instead of these divisive policies, is really working together on a bipartisan effort for comprehensive immigration reform. That's what we should be doing. Immigrants are contributing members of our communities here to build a better future for themselves and their families. This chaotic and divisive policies must stop by this administration. Mr. President, show us that you really care, and let the better angels inside you be demonstrated in working with us to solve problems and not spread fear throughout our urban and rural communities in America. Muchas gracias. My colleague, a good friend from California, who I've worked with both in Sacramento and here in Washington, took us to the San Ysidro border last year and pointed out the challenges we're facing. Congressman Juan Vargas knows this challenge very well. My colleague.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.